Hello and welcome to the Alchemist Inkwell.
This is your spiritual podcast for grounded people. I
Just
like
for
that's
dental stuff done this week. So that's all now. Oh, sorry,
I'm
I
so
don't mean to
sorry,
laugh, but
guys.
it's so funny.
Literally had dental work done this morning, and they were like, "We're just gonna numb this up extra." And I was like, "I have two podcast episodes to record today. This is gonna be great." And they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "It's okay. We have the best audience ever. It's gonna be hilarious. They'll understand." Um, so this part of my face is numb, and it's getting stuck every once in a while, but it's okay. It's okay.
We were just talking about it. We were just basically saying we get to go to Japan next week.
Mhm.
We're freaking hyped, obviously, and all of the travelers that are coming with us to Japan, we cannot wait to see you. Honestly, the group is already so amazing, and we're so excited. And I don't know about you, but I've been like consuming every bit of travel to Japan content with a fervor for the last like
Seen
week
your
and a
DMs
half.
from me on Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think we've been DMing a lot of stuff back.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're doing a bunch of fun stuff. And even down, like, Krista and I are going to go to Disney one day
Mhm.
just for fun, like outside of even the trip time. So we've been like really heavily diving into that. But when I was like, oh man, my week feels so long in between there. I have so many things going on. Because I do. I have a lot I'm doing this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, you
I
are busy.
think I was like, wait a second, Krista, you have it so much worse. You're getting your wisdom teeth.
Which was not today. That is
Not
actually coming up
today.
on Friday, which to all of you in Deity Academy, this is why we can't do the call that day because they scheduled my wisdom tooth surgery. And I'm like right in the middle of Deity Academy. That only happens once a month. You guys, really? Um, so that is why I will not be there on Friday because I will be very out of it. Yeah. And
They will
then
be there on Thursday or on Wednesday with us. We moved the D&D Academy call to Wednesday, but that's why. And that is just so unfortunate. Your week is
and I'm
so
like,
much longer than mine.
I am pulling all of my like folk magic healing, everything I can to help supplement because the Japan trip is also a food tour.
I know. I know. I'm sorry to
So I
laugh.
need to heal ASAP.
Hmm. Yeah, especially because rice and stuff, and it's just it's
Yeah,
a thing.
it's
You'll
fine.
be
It
fine.
should be fine. I've had like the surgeon that I talked to, I was like, listen, I'm going to Japan the week after, and he's like, you'll be fine, whatever. And I'm like, if you're that nonchalant about it, I guess we're good. Um,
Has he
but
had his
every
wisdom teeth out?
Yeah, he has. And he was very upset that I have not had mine out yet. He looked at me like, you can't reach those with a toothbrush. And I was like, you are correct, sir. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Dental stuff is so fun. It's the most funnest stuff.
And this kind of segues into a part of the events of the times that we want to acknowledge today.
Mhm.
Dental insurance is not part of actual insurance. And so while I have health insurance through my wonderful partner's job, his job doesn't care about my teeth. So I don't get dental insurance, even though he does. So
You
obviously,
can't add on to his dental?
no,
What?
no.
That's
So
criminal.
yeah, so all of this is like self-pay as well, which has been fun. So speaking of how messed up our system is, um, it is a point in the year that is pretty poignant when you think about the astrology for the United States this year as well. So
Yeah.
that's my rough segue into the topic of the day.
It was a rough one, but it's okay. I do have to say, my son gets braces this week and he's doing dentist stuff this week too. So it's just wild. But
Yeah.
I was looking at, the insurance, our medical insurance for him. And in California, if you're a kid under 15, I think, or under 16, dental insurance is included in the medical insurance as a requirement.
That's interesting. Too bad they can't do that like for everybody, but really
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah. I was like, neat. I don't know if the dentist will take it. I hope so. If not, I don't care at this point. Like I'm just got to get his braces figured out.
Hmm.
But I was like, well, that makes me feel good.
Hmm.
I like it. It was good. I mean, I think it's because Cover California is like a big deal. They do try to do a lot to supplement insurance here, but still, pretty nifty. Pretty
Hmm.
nifty. But yeah, state of our systems that are all sorts messed up.
Yeah.
So first of all, I guess we just really want to validate you. Like whatever feelings you're having about whatever events occurred and whatever way they may have occurred over the last week. Wink, wink, cough, cough. Um, we just want to validate whatever emotions you're having about it. Also, if you have a strong intuitive feeling, which Krista knows I did.
Well, we were
We were
chatting
just
about it too. Like I brought it up in the chat and I was like, I don't wanna, but
yeah, no, we were texting very in-depthly of the initial pings that both of us and Charlie had. We were all just like,
yeah.
that's a anyway. Um, whatever feelings you have, gut feeling that you feel aligned with, please trust those and remember like that is part of having discernment and that's part of having media literacy in general. We talk about that as far as like a logic way of like thinking around media literacy and thinking through things that come up, and that's fantastic. But for us, talking about it on an intuitive way, it's also feeling around things
Mm,
and also getting messages from your guides and channeling stuff in and seeing what feels right to you and what you can get clarity on, which is
yeah.
super duper important.
Because that also lets you know when to wait for action and when to
Yeah.
take action, which you want to
Mm-hmm.
be very aligned with before you take action in situations like this, right? So you want to ask for clarity, ask for second signs, ask for third signs, but also you don't even have to be looking for ways to take action. You can just say, for your own processing, for your own peace of mind, what happened? What's the context? How can I understand this in a deeper way? And one of my coping mechanisms is, of course, astrology, but you can use your esoteric talents and skills and tools to do that. I actually spent all of Sunday, I spent 4 hours hyper focused on an 8-page report on the astrology of the weekend for the individuals involved and for the Aries ingress chart of the United States, so that it also talks about all of us, and for the next 2 months of dates that we might want to be just aware of, as well as what they might indicate, positive, challenging, or otherwise.
Which is amazing.
I went
I
ham.
gotta say, your state of Pennsylvania is having the hell of a week because between like the gay furries at Anthropologie, their shit
That
in
that
Pittsburgh,
was,
and then and this incident
yeah.
also happening there. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe
They
you should
waited
look at
till I
Pennsylvania's
left to get.
astrology. Like,
No,
what is
listen, I was
Pennsylvania's
also
astrology?
Pennsylvania. So I was reading my textbooks recently for my master's degree. And it will come as no surprise to many people that many of the states were founded for religious reasons, right?
What?
Pennsylvania is not an exception. But William Penn, I was very pleased to read, actually had the intention of moving here and cooperating with the people who already owned the land. And
Hmm.
that's why Philadelphia was called Philadelphia, brotherly love, not because, whatever Americanization you want to give to it, but because they were going to cooperate with the people that already existed here and to give
Hmm.
them their space, because he was owed a ton of land. So he took it and he was going to make it pretty much sacred. And then when he was no longer governor, things changed.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah, PA has good origins, um, really awesome mountains and great folk traditions, in their Appalachian kind of lore. There's other stuff going on too.
And then there's towns that are perpetually on fire
Yeah.
forever. You
Yeah.
know, they,
Including my own. Yes.
you know, it's my favorite fun fact whenever someone brings
Uh,
up Pennsylvania. I'm like, ah,
there are two towns that are perpetually on fire. One being the one that I grew up in. Yes, we could see the smoke rising from the mountain every summer. And my fun fact about that is my great grandfather could have put it out for like $80, but the government took a long weekend and the fire got out of control. And so by the time Monday rolled around, they couldn't put it
too
out.
bad. Too bad. 50 years later, still burning.
Yep. Yep.
We didn't start the fire.
You
Sorry.
know, it was garbage. Garbage in a comb bank. Oh, that's your quintessential Pennsylvania right there.
Oh, I know.
Not necessarily. We
Um,
also have very good baked goods.
solid.
Yeah.
This is truth.
If you ever get the opportunity to have a whoopie pie in Pennsylvania, I suggest you take it. It's like
Mm.
a birthday cake sandwich. It's really good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm so focused today, you guys. I'm so sorry.
well, I mean, again, you did have a dental procedure earlier. You can be as unfocused as you want.
At one point, she's like,
Just
I'm going to put in
pull
some
past.
anesthesia here. And I'm like, anesthesia. And then later I was like, I feel really chill. And I thought, like, should I actually be driving? And then I was like, it's only 10 minutes. Don't let them know. Yes, you're going to drive.
Yeah, oh,
I'm
you should be
fine.
fine.
And it was right at the perfection of the Mars Uranus. So I said that to Dan over the weekend. I was like, Mars Uranus had a lot to do with what unfolded over this weekend,
Hmm.
which is mentioned in the report. By the way, if you want access to the report, this is one of those situations that we talk about where this is something where we want consent to be able to share it.
Yeah.
So what I did was on my Patreon, I said to the people in the student study tier and above, do you want to know? Would it help you or would it, make things worse? They voted, and then I put it on there still with a trigger warning. And then it's, 8 pages worth of information. And they voted because it would help them process as well, as it did for me. So Mars Uranus, big deal. Mars is the Lord of the Year for the United States as of the Aries ingress back in March. So it is an important mover in the sky this year. When it does stuff, that's when we're like, hey, this is what I want to pay attention to. And so this weekend, it was really interesting how not only the transit was sort of the key turn. There were other things that kind of layer in the more subtle layers of timing that unfold in astrology, especially using Hellenistic techniques. And then when a transit also happens at the same time with the planet that's involved in the other timing techniques, it sort of unlocks something and says, yeah, you're going to notice this one. And my phone just went off. So
Double
it
yes.
was a big deal. And I said to Dan, like, but my appointment on Monday is literally at the exact to the minute conjunction of Mars Uranus. What if the drill like goes off the rails? And Dan was like, it's not going to. It just isn't. And I was like, well, how do you know? He's like, you know what? I have faith. He used it against me and he was correct. But I did take my Satyr square charm with me as I did for whenever there's not good astrological timing and there's nothing I can do about it, that's where folk magic comes in. And so I will be sharing with everybody, I think next weekend in Patreon, how to make a Satyr square. It's super easy.
What?
Yeah.
What if? It's not gonna what if. We're not what ifing,
We
Krista.
don't do fear astrology, which is one of my mantras, but he was like, you're not doing that. And I'm just like, Mars is involved in literally everything I'm doing this year, and I'm trying to figure him out. So
Good luck. It's
thanks.
spontaneousness.
Yeah.
With
Natally, Mars
Mars.
and I get along really well. He is the ruler of my chart and my moon.
Hmm.
But this year, when I fell in Italy, it was Mars and Mercury, the Time Lord for me by annual perfection from the ascendant. It was those two. So I'm just like, what are you up to? Like you're sneaking up on me and I don't know why. And I'm watching you, but I don't know if I can do anything about it because it's a cadent house. So
Getting you.
we'll see. I'll be fine. Remember, I don't die until I'm 70. So we're good. Like when that, I don't know, did I get to tell the story about how like 2 days after I found the signature, which was very stark, not everybody has it.
Yeah.
Like I happened upon it by accident. And whether it becomes true or not, I still it's 70, so it's optimistic and it's easy to joke about. Um, but I was in a cafe 2 days after I found that, and
Yeah, you
a
told me. I don't
lamp,
think you told it on here. Yeah.
yeah, a lamp fell from the ceiling right behind me, and Dan watched it come down. And the manager, it landed on the seat that I was going to sit in, but we moved seats in the last minute because Dan was like, I feel like this one, thank God. Because the manager came out and he's like, that would have killed you. And I was like, not today.
Like, am I 70? No, I'm not.
I don't think so. I still have over half my life left. So, and
Oh
that
my
is a
gosh.
Scorpio moan's humor. So
Yeah. Just dying at that. Like, you didn't die. How great is that?
yeah.
Um, well, I do just want to say too, as far as like the kind of crossover, obviously we wanted to address what happened this week because we talk about stuff that happens during the week, and that was the thing that
That was
happened
the thing.
during the week.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that occurred. However, I also just want to say, like, we also wanted to bring this up because there's a lot of crossover between like having media literacy and like discerning if someone is good to have in your spiritual journey too.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of the same thing as whether you're asking yourself, who's telling me this information and why are they telling me this information with media, which I encourage you, if that's not a practice you do right now, please do it. Like
Hmm.
anytime you see any news article, any broadcast, whatever, immediately ask, like, who is telling me this story and why are they telling it to me?
Yeah.
Because it will give you so much context on the way they're telling it. Same thing if you're looking at any events in history. Any event in history, for the love of God, please ask yourself those questions. That is a particular area of mine, obviously, that I
Hmm.
get all up in arms with, especially certain areas of Roman history and things like that. And it's so funny to see the amount of, like, I'm going to call them history bros that will like die on all of the hills that this is how it happened. When really it's like, well, one person said that one time and there was one piece of evidence to back that up. In no way an accurate, like, there's 75 other ways it could have happened and all of them could still be right together.
Hmm.
So think about, we are living in history. So think about that on a daily, please. Like, it will really help. But also with your spiritual information. If people are giving you, spiritual guidance, spiritual information, whether that is in like a scrolling like reels or TikTok or whatever sort of format, or, another podcast, or if you're in a program that's run by somebody, whatever it is, always ask yourself that question too, and make sure that you're feeling in alignment with what is being taught. Just
Hmm.
because you are taught things by people who have more experience doesn't mean you have to fully be aligned with everything that they teach. Doesn't mean you always have to be fully aligned with agreeing with everything that they say, or feeling, like that's part of something you should incorporate. You don't have to. I point this out especially because over the weekend I did a post about some things I won't do as a psychic, things I don't channel in. I don't do death dates. I don't
Same.
do stay or go readings unless your guide is literally like, huge red flags, they're in danger, tell them to fucking leave. I'm not going to do a stay or go reading for a relationship. And very rarely have I ever had that experience. I think twice guides have been like, literally, client is in danger, client needs to leave
Mhm.
relationship yesterday. In which case I'll share, that's what your guide said, but not my opinion. Just a couple other things that I will and won't do. And I had a couple comments on Instagram. It was just from this, like, they're like a group of psychics that do it together
Hmm.
thing. I think they might be siblings. I don't even know. But they basically like, well, when you're truly talking to a person's angels, you don't have to worry about what they say. You can say whatever they say because they know what's best. And I was like, oh, that's so many layers of not healthy or safe.
Hmm.
Which I told them in so many words, which they did not receive, which is fine. But I just wanted to include this too, because obviously for them, they're trying to elevate a status of like, well, we're really tuning in and we're actually talking to the angels, and the angels will tell you whatever you want, which not everyone has angels. That's a weird thing to
Hmm.
assert. But it's another one of those things where if that vibes, if that feels aligned and that speaks to what you need right now, fantastic. If it doesn't, listen to that and don't force yourself into spiritual situations where you feel uncomfortable either.
Hmm. Well, and I can add to that. I had a family situation once where out of the blue, a member of my family walked up to me and said, I have a message, like God is speaking to me and you need to hear this. And I was just like, whoa, okay, like role
No.
reversal. I'm up for it.
Mm.
What do you have to hear? And he was like, you're not going to like it. And I was like, okay, brace for some constructive criticism. What is it? And then they said all this stuff that like straight to the heart hurt me, like in ways that only someone who knew me could hurt me. And it was
Mm.
devastating. And I remember my first reaction was dissociate. But also
Mm.
it was
Fair.
like, okay, you think this is God? Because I know what they were feeling. Like I've had that moment too, and I'm very specific about it.
Hmm.
And so I was like, do you feel comfortable in this moment? And they were like, no, no, I don't feel comfortable at all. I'm terrified. I don't like this. And I'm like, cool. Do you think God, the way that you understand God, would make you feel this terrified? Do you think this is actually God that's coming through you? And they were like, I don't know, I don't know. I was like, cool, we need to get you out of this first, but I don't think you're channeling God right now. So
Hmm.
it's one of those things where you open yourself up to something. And if you're not particular about who you trust to give you information, both in physical and in spiritual, you could get any source coming through.
Hmm.
And it's basically spiritual Twitter at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, even on top of that, like oftentimes guides will overestimate what we're capable of handling or doing down here, because they, like, think about it this way, like they know it's not our higher self form, right? Like they're super used to us being super capable of knowing all the stuff, of like being super connected and understanding the plan. And then we come down here and we have amnesia. It just like if your best friend were to get amnesia, you'd still be like, oh yeah, remember that one time? No, you don't. That's right. Okay.
Mhm.
Like you'd still have that feeling because they're still right there and you know them and you can share all these things and you'll assume that they know you, but they don't. And so it's that same thing where sometimes like I've had guides been like, yeah, like, she knows what's happening next. I'm like, she most certainly does not know what's happening next. Like, you're going to need to share more than that. Like, what do you mean? And they're like, oh, hey, right. Like, even then, yes, they do know your plan. Yes, they do know all these things, whatever. And it is possible for them to do that. But also, like, they are still individual beings that are also doing their own shit. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of other things that come in, and to think that, like, I don't know. It just seems really narrow-minded and also just unrealistic to think of like, well, every person has this group of like collective angels that are there ready to give them all of this information that is deep and profound. If you can just channel into them, they're going to give you all this stuff. I'm like, it just doesn't, it's not, it doesn't feel aligned. It also, I think, as a person who has the power to tap into someone's guides, it's also your power, necessary for you to, yes, of course, be the translator of what the guide said, but also to like make sure that you're paying attention to how the person is actually the fuck doing down here.
Mhm.
Because you could very easily send people into a spiral, overwhelm them, drain, like you can do so many things if
Mhm.
you just pure translated and then said, okay, bye. Like
Yeah.
that's, in my opinion, an ethical and moral issue. Like,
Yeah. You
take your
have to
mind.
be very sensitive. This is why counseling skills and coaching skills are very helpful to someone who's going to do intuitive work. And you and
Mm-hmm.
I both have our training in those areas. But I
Yeah.
remember someone came to me after they had gotten a reading from somebody else, and they were like, this person said my dad came through and that they were looking for
Mm-hmm.
me and all this stuff. And they hated their dad. They had a bad relationship with their dad. And I was like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Let's tune into what the energy actually was, because it sounds like this person was too quick to interpret the energy. It's
Yeah.
probably a father-like energy. Turned out
Yeah.
it was, this person did have an angel working with them that was kind
Mm-hmm.
of trying to fill that void and that gap and support them energetically. And so
Like
came
the
through
father.
as a father energy, but was not a father, but that person was panicked. And so you have
Mm-hmm.
to just be really neutral so that you
Yeah.
can be as rational as possible when you're kind of trying to interpret what's coming through.
Yeah. It's super important, super duper important to be as like neutral, but also be as conscious as possible at the
Hmm.
same time and understand like where the person's at, what they're asking,
Hmm.
what they're needing, and also what you're being given. And also presenting that to the person as like a consent choice, right? Like
Hmm.
if you get a big download of information and you're like, oh, okay, you guys really want me to tell you this. Are you good? Like it's going to be a kind of a big one. Like this one feels
Hmm.
heavy. Are you good with me telling that? Or are you like not in that space? And
Yeah.
that's also important. Like just because someone's guide says something doesn't mean that that person's ready to receive that thing. Period.
Yeah, the same thing goes with other techniques. Like astrologers will throw
Yeah.
stuff all over social media that nobody asked for. And so you could
Yeah.
trigger someone so easily by saying, oh, the astrology of this is this and this and this and this. Give them a minute to breathe after something big in
Mm-hmm.
the world happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even I'm in several group chats with astrologers. It was 24 hours before any of us started talking about what happened over the weekend. I
Mm-hmm.
was already studying it because that's my coping mechanism, but I am also I'm quite autistic. So like it was what I do. But I was, doing that, but even I know from experience, this is not something that you say, "Oh my God, though, do you know what happened in the astrology?" Because people are processing whether it is something that they have feelings about it one way or another. And
Yeah.
it's a big deal. And it means a lot of things potentially for a lot of important things. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to realize that you are a human first in a human experience, if nothing else, and that you are dealing with someone also in a human experience. And so, even if you have this crazy, amazing divine wisdom access, there is still the responsibility, like a doctor would with a diagnosis, there's the
Mm-hmm.
responsibility of offering the information in a way that the person can take in and then use. So overwhelming them is going to be useless,
Mm-hmm.
but giving it to them in a way that they are ready for, that they ask for, that, has consent, they can actually use it. And that's the point. You are there to facilitate their growth, their prosperity, their, positive effect of having been with you or having seen you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, all that's to say is follow your gut. Like truly lean in on that and feel out your own personal alignment and your own personal I guess just understanding of everything that we're being presented. We're in an age where like it is very, very like nearly impossible to get truly neutral information
Mm.
presented to us. Like we're in that kind of space and age, which is all the more important for us to like pay attention and focus on community level things where people are telling you stuff and that sort of thing, because it's just not, it's, if you don't have that, you won't get the full story. If you
Mhm.
don't pay attention to that, you aren't going to get the full context. And in my opinion, and this is something that I just know, I already knew it was going to happen this summer, but it's just kind of ramping up. And just to like give you guys, like, we're in the heart of probably one of the largest propaganda wars that, like, in history books, this is the time that they're going to study for propaganda. Like, the way that we study, like, World War II Germany, pre-World War II Germany, and the level of propaganda there. Like you probably learned about just the propaganda there in school to learn about what propaganda is. That lesson is going to get replaced with this one. For
Mhm.
I guarantee, like we're in the biggest propaganda war worldwide, because worldwide propaganda right now is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's discern through that energy, please, because it's going to be a wow. On a side note, I am really looking forward to the fact that the Paris Olympics are starting and we get to see just how messy they get how fast, because it's going to be just a shit show. And I am thrilled to witness
Yes,
how
and
that goes down.
yes, and have you seen their outfits?
Oh
All
no.
over my newsfeed recently is like the Mongolian outfits for their Olympians are amazing, but they're a spiffy this year.
Oh, I'm excited. I want to see that. I've been following all the French people coming online and explaining just how bad it is for them in Paris right now. And it is a whole adventure. Truly it is. Because Parisians are not happy.
Mm-mm.
Parisians are really, 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 really upset
They've got
about
a
the
lot going
Olympics.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. The security plans for the Olympics have gotten lost 3 times. It's lost. They've had to remake them 3 times. It's just one of those things where here's my thought. I think it would be really cool if we created a town, probably in Greece, because it would be cool because it would elevate that economy. And
Mhm.
that is the town that the Summer Olympics are held in every 4 years. And then I think it would be amazing if we created a winter town too, somewhere, I don't know, again, another place we could elevate the economy.
Mhm.
And that is the place where the Winter Olympics are held every 4 years. It would be so much better for the environment. It would
Mhm.
be so much better for the economies of the places that would hold them, as well as different world economies, because the Olympics like bankrupt things
Yeah.
very regularly. It's just a better idea
You
all
wouldn't
the way
need
around.
cardboard beds. They could just
Right?
a thing that stays there. Yeah.
Right? They could keep it really like all the money that would be invested, they could keep having that investment like pay back. And so they could keep growing things and making it cooler and different each year and investing in the like high tech, more high tech stuff and whatever. And the facilities would always be what was needed for the events and not the shitty sen. I mean, shitty literally. Um, just, it's a good idea. I don't know why there's this like, adoption of like needing to have it and rotating around the world. Like I get that that's cool, I understand that, but like we've grown beyond that, I think, as a
Mhm.
world at this point. And I love the Olympics. I think they're so amazing. I mean, I come from a town where I know many Olympians. I know many Olympians, specifically in skiing and snowboarding. And it's a great, wonderful culture. We love it, but also like, but we fix it.
Mhm.
Please. Um, on the note of around the world, look at that segue.
Yay.
That was a pretty one. Come on.
That was a good one. Very smooth.
On the note of around the world, we are launching our next Ancient Wisdom retreat, and we are actually doing a pre-sale for it for the first time ever,
Mhm.
specifically for our patrons. So
Mhm.
whether you're in my Patreon or Krista's Patreon, either one, you will find that when you have heard this, you'll have already seen the announcement for location of
Mhm.
where we're going, which we are going to keep secret from the general public until the week of August 9th. The trip launches officially for everybody, for the general public, on August 9th.
Mhm.
So we're going to do a guessing game and fun things like that leading up to that, of course, as we usually do on our social media. So get
Which
involved
means
there.
if you're a patron and you see our guessing game, do not spoil it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna
If you're a
know.
patron and you see our guessing game, no, you didn't. Uh,
Mhm.
but if you're in the Patreon, please head over there, check it out, and you will get access to join this trip via pre-sale. So we just, since Egypt sold out, we did 2 Egypt trips and they both sold out
Yeah.
in less than a day from their launch. So
So
we
thank you
have
all.
decided,
Yeah.
huh?
Thank you all for being there with that. That's amazing.
Oh, sincerely, thank you
Yeah.
all so much. That's just incredible. And yeah, thank you. Um, truly thank you for doing that. But we wanted to make sure that, our patrons do get kind of first look at this opportunity. And for this specific trip, couple clues, we've never been there before. We're really excited.
Yes.
Also, if you have traveled with us before, you will also get the links via the chats. So that when we're going to post the link to do pre-sale tickets on Friday. So you can get in on this trip has more limited spaces than any trip we've ever done, by the way. It is going to be a smaller group than
Yeah.
any of our previous trips. Considerably, actually.
Mm.
So there is more limited space there to get in on. But oh my God, I'm so excited.
Mhm. It's going to be really, really, really neat. I can't wait to feel the energy up there too, in so many ways.
Right? Oh, I'm so excited. It's a dream location of mine
Mhm.
since I was itty bitty.
Mhm.
So, and the trip is occurring, the first day of the trip is the summer solstice of
Yes.
next year,
And that will be very
which is so
observable.
poignant.
Yeah, it's going to be very observable from the location as well. Other hint.
Yeah, it's going to be so poignant and so cool. Anyway, so anyway, head over to our Patreon. Hop on in there. If you're already in there, you get to see it. If you are not already in there, you should go get into one of our Patreons. Krista does
Any
a
of us
ton of
also here.
astrology and folk magic and books and fun stuff there. I have been doing a lot of like just psychic stuff in general. You also get like bonus videos from my conundrum series on YouTube, which has been so much fun. By the way, someone suggested, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on this. Someone suggested a new title for that, and I'm pretty into it. But the suggested title was What in the Woo Woo? And I
Oh,
love it.
I like that.
I'm testing it out. But I think that's what it's probably going to transition to being called because I think that's perfect. I love it. But anyway, I've been having fun with that and been doing, I still do meditations every month. Then there's card pulls and there's tons of stuff in there too, but it's more kind of psychic development focused in general.
Mhm.
But yeah, so either one of our Patreons, you'll get to know where the heck we're headed, and you'll get to know how you get to get in on it first if that feels aligned with you to travel there. God, I'm so stoked.
Yeah.
Also,
I
we
was gonna
talked
say,
about our program last time. And now we only have 3 spots left. I
yeah.
hope I don't even know if we'll have any spots left at the time of this release, to be totally honest.
Mhm.
Maybe we will, maybe we will not. If you go and you're like, oh, I really wanted to do this program, I want to be considered for next time, please, like, we will probably put a form up on the website to get on kind of the wait list for next time's program, so you can be first to notified of the launch there. Or at least join that sort of mailing list for the
I was
Forgotten
gonna say there
Storytellers
is a
website.
there is a mailing list at the bottom of the page that they can
Hmm.
join. You can join it
Yeah.
and you will be notified first. Or you can join
Yeah.
any of our mailing lists or Patreons or whatever, because we will
Yeah.
be letting people know.
Absolutely. But yeah, right. As of right now, which is Monday, we have 3 spots left. So first of all, so excited to do some incense, outcense, and
Yeah.
other nonsense with all of our peeps.
Well, and seeing some familiar names on that list of people who have already joined, to the final 3 people out there, whoever you are going to be in such excellent company. I'm
Yeah.
so excited about some of these people to just have them all in a group together and to spend time over 3 months, potentially 4 months if you want to. And then to
Yeah.
be able to have the reunions at every Sacred Spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. The way it kind of shakes out, the reason Chris was like 3 months, 4 months. So we have
Mhm.
3 months of like concrete, actual like education time. And then in December each year, we're going to do a practicum with all of those people, which is basically we're going to be doing work with all of the different holidays that occur in December, as far as ritual work you can do and how to honor the solstice and Saturnalia, and like let's do some Yule stuff and like all these different things. So we're going to do that kind of all together in real time. And yeah, and again, this program is all about kind of really getting into basics on a lot of different things, getting you really laying some foundations on a lot of different areas to build upon. So if you feel like a dabbler in spirituality, but you've wanted to go deeper, this is a wonderful program for you. For like the casual dabbler, it's fantastic.
Mhm.
If you really are like excited because you're in a space where you're ready to learn a lot more about spirituality, just kind of in general, you're getting that pull of like time to step into that and make this more integrated in your daily life. This is the program for that. We're really trying to help everyone integrate deeply this magic and this energy into their day-to-day lives.
Mhm.
That's the goal.
Yeah, there's a book that came out a couple months ago called The Witching Year, where over 2020, the author took a year and just experienced getting into the magical side of things. And they did it again, it took them 12 months, and they were finding people they're very good at doing research. So they went to like authority figures, they went to conferences, they went to all these things, and they did some of it.
Mm-hmm.
um, but if you've ever read The Witching Year, this is going to be, pardon my opinion, but so much better than that. We're going to be there. We already have everything gathered in the same space. You don't have to go all over the place to find scattered resources. We've already brought them together, and we have done this for a combined more than 30 years. We did the math the other day and made us feel both very old. Um,
Yeah.
our
We've
experience there, plus you get friends built in, which is amazing.
yeah, yeah, combined we have over 30 years of like
Mhm.
actively channeling for people experience.
That is supposed to be like really good as far as experience goes, but then it's like, ow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hello, Caleb.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot. Um, Phew, Weston just brought me coffee, everybody.
Hey,
I
hi,
feel
Weston's
like
hand.
I went. Thank you. Love you too. Well, that was fun. You got a mini Weston cameo. If you're on the YouTube, you see Weston's hand just very briefly. Oh. Oh, awesome. So yeah, fun, exciting things. We have a couple spots left. We will be doing this program more than once a year, kind of going forward.
Mhm.
We're really excited about it and really invested in doing this. And we know so many of you have wanted us to do a program like this for a long time, and we had to get there on our own and wait
Mhm.
for the divine timing to make it a reality. And now it is, and it
Mhm.
very much is a reality. And we're so thrilled to get to present this
It feels
and
really
be in the
good.
space we go. Yeah. One last super quick thing to note is there is a full moon on Sunday.
It's a blue moon,
Yeah.
because it is the second full moon occurring in Capricorn. The last one was in the first or second degree of Capricorn. This one is at the 29th degree of Capricorn. And while there are no ancient references to a blue moon or a moon occurring the same time in the same signs that I have
Mhm.
encountered, I did sit and think on it a little bit and like kind of tune into it. It's like this is kind of the moon's version of a retrograde, right? We hit it and now
Mm.
we're going to hit it again. So wherever Capricorn is in your chart, and I do have a video that will be up on YouTube, and it'll be all over my social media this week. Don't you worry. But wherever Capricorn is in your chart, just know that a month ago, you may have found some clarity in that area that is born of something that perhaps started 6 or 7 months ago. And now you might be making sure that anything that needs to be kind of chiseled out in order for it to be very smooth, you have done that so that you can move forward and complete that project in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah. I will say it's one of those full moons when I look at the energy of it, I'm like, ooh, take a bath. Like,
Mhm.
like it's very much a like soak out the blocks, like release them to nature. Like go yell at the moon and let the moon grab everything you want to yell about. Like it's very much like a kind of just physical releasing type. Like go for a run, go smack a pillow a whole bunch, like release things through energy releasing, like through truly like moving the body, connecting with the body, helping to figure out whatever it is that's going on with your body.
Mhm.
That's been a huge theme for me this week, and it's not been pleasant, but it is a thing. And just it's just one of those it's one of those moons where I look at it, I'm like, what do you recommend like releasing? And it's not so much like what I recommend releasing, it's how I recommend
Mhm.
releasing it. And whatever comes to mind that you need to process through, that you want to release, do that in some physical way. Take that, do that exercise. paint that picture even and like cry it out as you do, like process and truly help. It's going to feel, honestly, like you'll feel so much lighter. Like when I look at next week's energy, I'm like, oh, it's lighter. Like it is
Mhm.
so much lighter because of this moon comes in and just like moon burns us.
Mhm.
Moon burns away all of this.
Yeah, that is a good way of putting it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. If you watch next week's video and you're like, huh, they're wearing the same clothes, it's because we're about to record it right
Huh, Krista's still slurring some of their words a little bit.
after. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we're about to record it right after this. We're doing 2 Mondays of 2 podcasts in a row so that we can make sure that we have podcasts for you guys when we are in Japan, because we will be in Japan for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Which is so cool.
I know.
I can't wait to share with you all about Japan. Honestly, like it's just for, well, we're going to talk about this more next time, but we tune in beforehand to see how it's going to go. And we're just like
Mhm.
giddy with this one. So hyped.
It's gonna be everything. I think I've needed this for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I just, yeah. Oh, it just feels so good. Anyway, um, we adore all of you and we hope that you process through everything and you take this energy and you go
Go
make
make
some
some
magic.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I keep ending it with that yeah, because I'm like, I don't know if it's
I don't know how to
that.
do this. Is it good or not? Ah, it might be.